Sorry, I'm trying to get this thing set up. Okay, let's put that in there. And sorry guys, I'm just sharing now to a few groups that may be interested in tonight's topic. Okay. It says I'm live, but I don't see the countdown ticker. It's interesting. Let me wait and see if that works. Yeah, it must be going. I see someone in there. Hello. Okay, just make sure that's clean. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is day 29 of the 30-day Boss Up Challenge. Day 29. That is a long time that we have been coming together to talk about business, bossing up, starting your own business, getting your own side hustle. 29 days. Can you believe it? We are almost there. We're almost there. And tonight, we're going to jump right into the topic. I'll do acknowledgments briefly. Let me acknowledge Glow Construction today. Glow Construction has a Facebook page. It's GLOW Construction LLC. Check them out. And that is owned by Henry Watkins. He has a partner that handles most of those affairs, but they do good work. So check them out. And also for the gold check-in, last night we talked about financial management, and you all are supposed to be talking about looking at how you're going to improve your budget. That was your goal, basically. So I hope you did that. But I'm ready to jump right into good old Willie Lynch. Yes, Dad, I know that you've advised me not to talk about this tonight. And while I do agree with everything you're saying, you know I'm going to go ahead anyway. And because I just feel like I need to speak on it. But what we're doing tonight with the Willie Lynch letters, those of you that may not be familiar with it, on the making of a slave, we're not really going to focus heavily on the race component. Because what I want to do tonight is encourage you to think about Willie Lynch and from the standpoint of how he understood human psychology, okay? Because the way that he taught the slave owners how to break the slaves and how to make them into something else and how to change their mindset, it's all about human psychology. That's not specific to Africans, Black people, the slaves, for that period. What I'm interested in is looking at the Willie Lynch letter and how it could relate to any race right now, but not so much race, but I guess a class of people that would be considered those that are employed by others, okay? Now, let me just automatically just start out with apologizing in advance for anybody who, if the message is received in a way where you're offended because you are an employee, you're proud of what you do, you're happy where you are, please, this is not the conversation for you. So really, I'd ask that you actually, although I want as many viewers as possible, I'd have to ask you to actually leave this video, because this is not for you. This is for the people that are open-minded and considering that their employment situation and the way capitalism is set up in America is just modern day slavery. That's what I would like to talk about today. So anybody that, I'm not saying if you have a difference of opinion, you're not welcome here, but so that you are not to be offended, this may not be the talk for you. Okay, I'm going over my 20 minutes tonight. I'm just letting you know, I'm going over my 20 minutes. So I actually want to read some of the information directly from the Willie Lynch letter. And it's funny because this speech was delivered in 1712 on Christmas Day. It's interesting. All right, so let's see, where should I start? So he says, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord, 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. He was very confident about what he had to offer and what he had to say. Okay, let's see. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crossing for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings, slaves are running away, your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit, you suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years, which would be the year 2012. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves and make the differences bigger. Now listen to this. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade of skin. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations, and status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. I'm going to say that again. I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. It is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful of each other. Thank you, gentlemen. And that was his introduction, okay? So the next section is on Let's Make a Slave. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature. Human nature, not just, African nature, Native American nature, human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong, they were every hour perpetuating in knowing what they themselves would do. Were they the victims of such wrongs? They were constantly looking for the first signs of dreaded retribution. They watched, therefore, with skilled and practiced eyes, and learned to read with great accuracy the state of mind and heart of the slave through his sable face. Unusual sobriety, apparent abstraction, sullenness, and indifference indeed, any mood out of the common was afforded ground for suspicion and inquiry. Let us make a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy. Second, we will use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Cardinal principles for making a Negro. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse, we understand that short-range planning economics results in periodic economic chaos. So, to avoid that turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth and depth in long-range comprehensive planning, articulating both skill, sharp perceptions. We lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. Both horse and niggers is no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. For orderly future, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor. Both must be taught to respond to a peculiar new language. Psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. We hold the 6 cardinal principles as truth to be self-evident, based upon the following: the discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and the nigger together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down about. Please note, neither principle alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for orderly good of the nation. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild or nature nigger is dangerous even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. You cannot rest. They sleep while you are awake, and are awake while you are asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body, take the mind. In other words, break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you. For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with 2 captured nigger males in their natural state, a pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. Take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female and the nigger infant. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite directions. Set him on fire and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining niggers. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. But don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. Y'all sticking with me here? All right. Next is the breaking process of the African woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of resistance out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economic. When in complete submission, she will train her offsprings in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have a limited protective tendency towards her independent male offspring, and would raise male offsprings to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reversed nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen, independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offsprings to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You've got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economic. Before the breaking process, we had to be alert, on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Continually through the breaking of uncivilized savage niggers, by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing of the protective male image, and by creating a submissive, dependent mind of the nigger male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on this axis forever, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. We show what we mean by example. Take the case of the two economic slave units and examine them closely. Y'all with me? Keep listening. It's like our book club night. Okay. The next section is called the nigger marriage. We breed two nigger males with two nigger females. Then we take the nigger males away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other bears a nigger male. Both nigger females, being without the influence of the nigger male image, frozen with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her, we negotiate her at will. The one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen with the subconscious fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these two offsprings become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. That is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. Here's the next section. Warning, possible interloping negatives. Earlier, we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger in their wild or natural state. We talked about the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and female savages, we created an orbiting cycle that turns on its axis forever unless a phenomenon occurred and reshift the positions of the male and female savages. Our experts warned us about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring, for they say that the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time. If I can touch some substantial or original historical base, and they advised us that the best way to deal with the phenomenon is to shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomenon of illusions, so that each illusion will twirl in its own orbit, something similar to floating balls in a vacuum. This creation of multiplicity of phenomenon of illusions entails the principle of crossbreeding the nigger and the horse, as we stated above, the purpose of which is to create a diversified division of labor, thereby creating different levels of labor and different values of illusion at each connecting level of labor, the result of which is severance of the points of original beginnings for each sphere illusion. Since we feel that the subject matter may get more complicated as we proceed in laying down our economic plan concerning the purpose, reason, and effect of crossbreeding horses and nigger, we shall lay down the following definition terms for future generations. Orbiting cycle means a thing turning in a given path. Axis means upon which or around a body turns. Phenomenon means something beyond ordinary conception and inspires awe and wonder. Multiplicity means a great number. Sphere means a globe. Crossbreeding a horse means taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, and you get a dumb, backward-ass, long-headed mule that is not reproductive nor productive by itself. Crossbreeding niggers mean taking so many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the drops by the various tone that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until another cycle of color appears as you desire. What this means is this: put the niggers and the horse in a breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You got a multiplicity of colors of ass-backward, unusual niggers running tied to a backward-ass, long-headed mule, the one productive of itself, the other sterile. The one constant, the other dying. We keep the nigger constant, for we may replace the mules for another tool. Both mule and nigger tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from, and neither productive for itself nor without each other. Next section, control the language. Crossbreeding completed, for further severance from their original beginning, we must completely annihilate the mother tongue of both the new nigger and the new mule and institute a new language that involves the new life's work of both. You know, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of the country, to the extent that he knows the body of the language, to that extent is the country vulnerable to attack or invasion of a foreign culture. For example, if you take a slave, if you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer. For example, if you told a slave that he must perform in getting out our crops, and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops didn't mean our crops, and the slavery system would break down, for he would relate on the basis of what our crops really meant. So you have to be careful in setting up the new language for the slaves would soon be in your house, talking to you man to man, and that is death to our economic system. In addition, The definitions of words or terms are only a minute part of the process. Values are created and transported by communication through the body of the language. A total society has many interconnected value systems. All the values in the society have bridges of language to connect them for orderly working in the society. But for these language bridges, these many value systems would sharply clash and cause internal strife or civil war. The degree of the conflict being determined by the magnitude of the issues or relative opposing strength in whatever form. For example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the biggest problem you would have out of him is that he would worry you about provisions to keep the hog pen clean. Or the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate something in his language where he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen, you got a problem. He will soon be in your house. That's how it ends. Thank you for bearing with me. I did not want to just take out excerpts. I wanted to just read it because I felt like every word could resonate with people. All right, so now, of course, they were talking about niggers, and you know, for African Americans that are watching this, we know what this was intended for. But now what I want to do is make this applicable to business builder basics. I think we are moving, racism is still there, but we're also moving into a classism situation, okay? The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. It just happens to be that certain race of people are more represented in those classes, okay? And so the psychology behind this is what I want you to focus on. So now that's where, if it doesn't matter if you're white, Hispanic, Native American, it doesn't matter what color you are, now you get to understand how powerful the conditioning of the mind is, okay? And now what I understand even better, and I don't know how Mr. Lynch figured this out, maybe he didn't even know, but because of the way the brain works and develops, you actually change brain structure when you're conditioning human beings. And when their brain structure is conditioned to change, now through epigenetics, there are new generations that come that are born automatically with the template for that mindset. It'll be harder for them to have a different mindset. It's possible, but it's harder for them because they're born now with the equipment that was under this conditioning system. This is how they knew that this way of conditioning, they predicted would work for about 300 years, which would have been in about 2012. They would have anticipated starting to see some upheaval or that phenomenon they were talking about, right? And so now I think going beyond race, what we see is that you have the elite wealthy class, the multi-billionaires, and the monopolization that we see in the United States. And what people, when you're employed, oftentimes there was a plan that went in place. There were meetings like this, and there are meetings that continue to go on in boardrooms, in offices, that may not talk about it at this level. It may not be this gruesome. It may not be this harsh. But trust me, what do you think industrial organizational psychology is? IO psychology is where you basically hire someone trained in studying human behavior to motivate your employees to perform. I definitely need you to consider this, right? Now, I'm not saying that being an employee is never a good thing, but what I'm saying is, with the way that it's being done now, with people who are not getting their needs met and don't have ample means to live well, they're basically living in conditions that maybe slaves had it even better. I'm not sure, because really when you think about it, in slavery, they were given something, maybe scraps, but they were given something to be able to live and survive, although it was not enough to live well. So when you think about today and you think about a lot of people that go and work their 9 to 5 jobs, and hell, not even 9 to 5, you have people that work 12-hour days and then have a second job and they still can't feed their families. There's something wrong with that. But at the same time, those people who are struggling and straining are conditioned or have been conditioned most of the time. I feel they've been conditioned to feel like that's all there is, or they're too scared to try something else. Or when they see somebody else who may have been in their situation, who's now in a situation to boss up, now they have to look at, what was it? It was the envy, the fear, and it was something else. It was something else. Let me find it. It was 3 things because I thought that was really important right in the beginning. Let's see. Fear, distrust, and envy. That's what he was proposing to use to control slaves. So fear, distrust, and envy in employees. So what do you see? There's some people who tune into this show, this one in particular, and they come into this show not with the idea that they want to boss up or get some good information, but because they want to come in here and they want to evaluate me. They want to be able to come in here and see what I'm talking about, pick it apart, scrutinize it, and try to figure out everything wrong with the message so that they don't have to do anything different, or so that they don't have to feel like they have a competitor, or, because it's like we've been conditioned to look at people that way, right? We've been conditioned to envy. We've been conditioned to distrust. Let's say you're not envious of the person, but you're reluctant and you're skeptical because this person, they don't look like the people who you trust. The billionaires or people that look a certain way, they don't look like the people that you've been conditioned to trust. So now you don't support this person. You discredit this person. You say slick stuff about this person, and you don't even know why, which is why I don't get upset. It's sad, but I don't really get upset anymore because I understand that this has been conditioned into people. You have employees working together, and because people like being crabs in a barrel, you know how people do each other. And that is what they want people to do. They want you to snitch on other people. They want you to feel like you're the special one, right? You're being promised the promotion or the position, right? But you only have to sell your soul, basically. You only have to go against and step on, your peers to do it. This is the kind of climate that's being created amongst people that work together. And anybody who gets out of that situation, remember there were differences that he highlighted. He highlighted age, skin tone, intelligence, size, sex, size of plantation, and status on plantation. So really, now you're thinking about, how do we look at people? I'll use my community as an example. I know that in my community, they have just taught people they've taught black men how to make dark-skinned women feel inferior. They've taught black men how to think that the only thing that's beautiful is long hair or soft and wavy hair, right? They've conditioned black women to feel like that's what they need to do to be beautiful. They have conditioned, and we buy it. Oh, we eat it all up. It's in us, right? It's been conditioned in us, and it's hard to get it out. We don't even realize it when we're doing it, right? But you have, if someone's younger versus older, think about in the workplace when you've had somebody younger than you hating on you because they think, your position, they would rather you retire so they can get your position, or you got the older person hating on the younger person because they don't want to show them any respect. It's like the way that these things are still being used. Your status, your intelligence. When did being smart go out of style? When did speaking properly go out of style? Do you know how much I was teased and hated on because I spoke properly, or people were mean to me because of silly stuff. You know how many people I've seen where they were the nicest people that I've ever met, but they were tormented, especially like black women and how they do each other. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But you can't even really be mad because you see through this that it's been conditioned in us, and it's been a very effective system that keeps us disillusioned. Remember where they talked about, and they know that there's a phenomenon that could happen and that's coming naturally, because they said it's natural for people to want to self-correct. If you've been brainwashed, if you've been conditioned, there's going to be this urge to gravitate back to the natural state of consciousness that you should have, basically like waking up, right? They want people to stay asleep. They don't want people to wake up. And the people who are encouraging other people to wake up, the people that are not woke, hate those people. They don't want to support those people. They sabotage those people. They come into their live stream just to get back on their own timeline and say something slick about that person. You know, they're not really coming to get any good information. They're coming to find the holes and discredit. They make you feel like you have to be a perfect person to deliver a real message. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm far from a perfect person, but I have a real message to deliver, and it's authentic and it's real, and I'm going to continue doing it. And I only want people here who are in a position to receive that message. Those are the only people I want in this group, because I'm not going to ask for your likes and your shares if you don't buy what I'm saying. If you don't buy what I'm saying, if you don't think it's important to boss up, if you don't think that there is a system out here that is working against the poor people and the people without ample means, you don't belong in this group if you want to try to shut it down, or if you want to get in here and go tell somebody else what you don't like about what I'm saying or what I'm doing or who I am or why you think I'm not qualified to speak on the matter. That's not what I'm here for. So this was an inspiration of me doing this today, because I already know we're on day 29 and I do not have enough people who committed to this challenge. I don't have enough people, and I'm wondering why. But at the same time, I have people hitting me up privately, asking for my assistance, asking for me to do things, but they don't want to put in the work by doing the Boss Up Challenge, right? They don't want to do the Boss Up Challenge. They want to skip over day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and they want me to take my time to spend with them privately to give them what they want to try to decide if they want to do business. And I'm like, no. And it's no hard feelings or anything like that. I'm not offended. But what I will say is you need to go back and you need to watch every video, and you need to send me a business plan before I'll even consider giving you a phone call. And I'm going to stick with that. I don't care if you are family, friends. That is what I'm requiring from anyone who wants my time. Because let me tell you, I don't claim to be a life coach. I am not a life coach. No, because I don't feel qualified to be a life coach. I think that I have some degree of wisdom, but I don't feel like that's really my lane. My lane is how to tell you how I became a self-made millionaire. And that's real. Whether I'm imperfect, dysfunctional, depressed, whatever, it does not matter. I'm here to tell you what I know worked for me as a young black woman in the position that I was in, coming from my community. I'm here to share with people what worked for me. Anybody that doesn't want that information, you're a slave. You're a slave, and you will remain a slave. But as for me and mine, our 300 years is up. 2012, that was a while ago. I went into business in 2005. I feel like I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of their projections. Me and my family, we're ahead of that. Now, if you would like to get ahead, if you would like to wake up, if you would like a boost, if you want, keep on hitting the snooze on your alarm clock. You hear the alarm clock going off. You know it's time to wake up, but you're too lazy to get up, so you keep hitting snooze. You keep hitting snooze, but for the short little bit of time you are up and awake, you looking through your phone and you figuring out a way to hate on the people who didn't hit snooze. They're up, they're walking around, they're awake, they're getting the work done, they're making it happen. And you could be with them making it happen, but instead you keep hitting snooze. You want to go back to sleep. You want to get more sleep. 300 years is up. And there are plenty of people out here trying to do positive things to uplift and encourage other people. But where is everybody? It's day 29 and I only have 7 viewers. I had the same amount of viewers. The most I've ever gotten has been 10 people. It's day 29. You mean to tell me that this has not been shared? I'm not saying this was great enough that it should have went viral. That's not what I'm saying. But if I have 5,000 Facebook friends, where is everybody? And I know a lot more people, maybe not personally, but I might have known them close enough where I've walked the halls of school with them. I have been up close and personal with these people. I have been talking with some of these people recently, and they keep on hitting the snooze button. But steady talking about they woke, or they ready to wake up, or they're ready for something different, but they keep doing the same things that keep them in a position to be snoozing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm disgusted by it, but at the same time, I understand where it comes from. That is why I took the time today to read Willie Lynch's letter. That's why I read it, because I feel like there's a message in it. And I'm not making my channel focus on race-related issues, because this is a place where everyone is welcome. Because I'm trying to help people who are trying to find financial freedom. And it's not only Black people that are poor and struggling and hurting out here. Okay? I just happen to be Black, so there are going to be times where I do give a little special attention to my people on my platform. But the message today is about human psychology and conditioning. And now, like I said, this Willie Lynch letter, the information inside of here is still being talked about in boardrooms, but only now is being applied to. Remember, the overall thing for this was they didn't come and get us as slaves just because they hated us. They weren't all the way across the ocean, and they hated us so much that they came to get us and bring us back to torture us. This was about money. It was about money. So what makes people think that this doesn't apply to today and the economy today? People want to do what brings the bag. And if that means ripping somebody to shreds, brainwashing somebody, switching their mindset, breaking them down, that's what they're doing to employees. That's what they're doing a lot of the times. Not every company is like that, but what I'm saying is overall, with the monopolization that we see, it doesn't have to be monopolization. It doesn't have to be, because a lot of people are willing participants because of the conditioning that's been done. But I'm here to tell you that self-correction, you're always going to gravitate towards self-correction unless you continue to do things that make you snooze, like staying drunk, staying high, womanizing, chasing men, gambling, just being a slave to your addictions and your psychological damage. Those are the things that are going to stop you from having this phenomenon occur that they're talking about, this natural shift back to what is our real right, to have freedom. And I'm talking about financial freedom. It is a right that you have. But you're so disillusioned, and I've been there too, and I'm still growing, but you're so disillusioned, you don't even know how to look at somebody, your sister, who's doing pretty much a similar thing that you're doing. You don't know how to look at her live stream and actually say, you know what? Yeah, sis, that's what's up. Let me like your video. Let me share this video. Let me shout her out. Let me acknowledge what this person is doing. That's why that doesn't happen, because you've been disillusioned. it's funny how some of the people who claim to be the most woke are sometimes the biggest joke, because the things that they say about other people and the things that they do to other people that are really doing good things, it shows where they are. There is no competition when it comes to the number of soldiers that we need to be walking around, banging on people's doors, waking people up. We need more of them. So it's not about competition. And part of what I think this issue is that everyone wants a platform to talk about what they want to talk about. Everybody's trying to figure out how to monetize on YouTube, on Facebook. Great. I have no problem with that. I would like to do that. I see other people doing it and it inspired me. And I'm like, oh, let me try to do it with the message I feel like I can provide. But to think about it as competition or to not support one another, that is ridiculous. We need to encourage one another. If my 7-year-old daughter says, she gets on here and says, I'll do a lemonade stand on my block, but yes, I will teach my friends how to do a lemonade stand, even if they're right on the next block, because I don't have a fear of competition. I'll just step my game up. If my 7-year-old knows how to do that and you can't, you got a problem. You have a problem if you don't understand that. You have to be, second guessing and distrusting and mistrusting what somebody has to say. You don't even know this person. You think you know this person, but you don't even know them. You think you know them. And even if you do know them, you don't have to be a perfect person to deliver a good message. You don't. So I need on day 29, I need people to look at, when you see these videos, if you know you're one of those people who has thought through and you haven't had a damn good thing to say, you haven't shared one video. This is day 29. But even before I started the Boss Up Challenge, I had done 7 days. That means as of today, I should have about 36 videos. You mean to tell me out of 36 videos, there was nothing that you saw, nothing you were interested in, nothing that had any validity, nothing that you felt like you could thumbs up, heart, share, nothing? You're a slave. You're a slave. Let's talk about it. What y'all got to say in here? I'm not trying to be a slave. I'm trying to be a boss. I'm bossing up. My 300 years, for my lineage, my 300 years is up. We did our time. And it takes a strong mind to break yourself out of that cycle. It takes a strong mind. And when you do it and you figure out how to do it, if somebody, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I'm very confident in myself. If somebody in my position is willing to talk to you for free and give you my time and tell you how to get it done, be thankful. Say thank you. Say thank you. Yeah, don't try to figure out anything wrong. Just say thank you. Because there are a lot of people, and most people don't know it if they have not tried to go and talk to other business owners, but a lot of business owners are not going to tell you anything. They're not going to tell you anything. They're not going to share what they feel are their trade secrets or their key to success. A lot of people are not going to tell you, or they're going to try to sell it to you, which I don't have a problem with that. There is nothing wrong with that. I will do that one day. If God willing, I will do that one day. But if I'm giving it to you for free, say thank you. Stop trying to discredit it. So hello, everyone. I'm passionate today. The Willie Lynch letters are very upsetting for me to see when I relate it to my people, and then when I think about how it relates to present day. So I'm very passionate about this. Yep. Fear, distrust, and envy. Still relevant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep. They say you're not black. Yep. You sound like a white girl. What does that even mean? And Chanel, I know you had a hard time because you pretty too. I know you had a hard time. The boys probably liked you. You probably got the blues, girl. They probably now, and you successful now. You had your own business, girl. I know you were suffering. Business, intelligence, and upgrades. Folks are not really about that life. It is a mindset, and until the thinking changes, the actions will not change. Nope. They're using social media likes now. Yep. You gonna withhold your likes. You sitting up there and you watching the live stream and you heard something powerful at some point and you just stingy with your little likes. Just stingy with them. Just won't even hit a like button. Won't even share right quick. I don't get it. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty, but it's like, really? Seriously? The biggest thing now is putting women against men, destroying the family. I definitely believe it. Women against men. And it was designed that way. And I'm so sorry. It was so effective. They knew, Willie Lynch and whoever his crew was, even though they were some very wicked people, they knew what they was doing though. They knew what they were talking about. They were accurate. And they were able to work out a system that was so effective that even when we're aware of the system, we still have a hard time knowing what to do about it. How many people have seen, you see how they have like the woman in the forefront and the man is in the back, scared and afraid and has been broken in spirit? How many of you all, men and women, have seen this dynamic where you have a strong, independent woman doing her thing, not really needing a man, but wanting a man, bending at his will, letting him ride at his will, right? But this is a strong woman though, strong woman, but carrying around men, right? And just being mistreated, being left alone while the men go out and just spread their seed, because that's what was conditioned into their minds and that's what was passed down. That is what they were trained to do. And all of the strong men who weren't going for it, they killed them. So their epigenetics, a lot of them didn't make it. So their genetics and everything didn't make it to today. That breed is dead. They were sure to kill them. They killed them. And what survived was a mother making sure she taught her son, listen, don't go against master. Don't go against master. Just do what he say. Make sure you work real hard. Be real strong. You got to be real physically strong. But just don't think for yourself. Don't do nothing. Don't take care of the woman. Just let mama handle it. I'll let them rape me and beat me and everything. And I'm going to take care of you. That's what it became. And today what that looks like, it's very similar, only now there's no real white man or person physically forcing a man to shit on his woman. Excuse my language. There's nobody really forcing them to do it now. There's nobody really forcing them to roll out and leave their families. There's no one really forcing them, but it's in them. They don't know. So they're out and they feel like their manhood and their worth is about how strong they are physically, aggression and physical strength, and spreading their seed. While the black woman is alone trying to raise her kids, and her daughters are the strong ones, and her sons are the ones that are struggling and weak. What is that, man? They knew what they were doing. Only thing is their time is up. That 300 years, that expiration date is over. So now what is the issue? What's the issue? I believe even feminism was strategically crafted to create division and force the need for two-income households that low-key broke up families because it took away the stability of the home with both parents working and away from their children. Because you said the sex one was on point. Thank you, no problem. Because in real life, the game is sold, not told. So thank you, my love. Read up on Jim Crow, of course. Shaking my head, I went through hell. Girl, I know you did. My daughter just asked me, why am I always watching that girl live? I'm going to have to sit down and explain to her exactly why. Exactly. Explain to her why. And I don't know if you have sons, but I made my 8-year-old son read The Nigger Marriage. Yes, I did. He didn't really know what he was reading, but it's a start. Because I need him to understand. I made him read it the other day because he allows his little sister to work harder than him. He's not as protective of her as he should be, and she's always trying to see about him. She was like trying to help me with my stuff, carrying her bag, her book bag, trying to get one of my bags. I had a bag, and all he had was like his book bag, chilling. Didn't even offer to help. I'm not trying to put him on blast. I love all my kids, but we're speaking truth right now. All I'm saying is I see the system was effective. The system was effective. Where are the men? Where are the men? I'm not saying that they don't ever raise their kids, and I'm not saying that they're trying to say that the women were raised to be good and strong. No, they raised them to be independent and dysfunctional, though, but independent. So you see the black woman struggling. You see the black woman falling for anything, settling for anything, because their spirit has been broken also, but yet their strength has been capitalized on. It's this weird balance. Have you ever seen women that are real strong and got it going on in every single way, but they are a fool or complete idiot for a man? That's by design. That's by design. You say you still catch help because of fitness, lifestyle, etc. It is very much a challenge to get support. Yeah, the women will come out for the men quick, and they'll come out for a man who don't even do the routine with them. He's just on a mic with some songs playing again and again with like 6-8 counts, and they coming out for that, but they won't come out for a black woman. No more excuses. Dusty. Make them read Reverend Colcock Jones' book in the autobiography of Malcolm X. Independent and dysfunctional. Yep. They broke the spirits. And so now you see it in the workplace. You see it in the workplace. You have a fear. Oh, I need my check. I need my check. You know, because you don't believe in yourself. And that's what I want to end off with is you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. Don't be disillusioned. You are powerful. You are powerful. And I guarantee most of you are working harder for your 9 to 5 than you would be working for yourself. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure of it. But it's your mindset that is preventing you, not your physical stamina or energy, but it's your mindset. You're fearful. You don't think you're going to make it. You don't think you have what it takes. Or you've been taught through religion that it's bad to succeed or to have money. You've been taught to worship a God that doesn't want to see you do well or wants you to be humble yourself. You're not worthy. You're not worthy of you know, when my dad showed me a video, and that's something that I'll probably play on another night as not a part of the Boss Up Challenge or do a watch party. But it was just like, I love what the guy was saying, because he was saying you need to stop praying to a God in the sky and be true to the God in yourself. Be true to the God in you. Believe in yourself. You know, just trying to you saw Willie Lynch. This speech happened on Christmas Day, and he referenced the Bible and the Lord in this speech. It's hard for me to trust what people wrote back then. It's hard for me to trust history. It's hard for me to trust organized religion. Yes, I'll go ahead and just say it. I'm not telling you how you should feel about your religion. All I'm saying is, for me, it's hard for me to trust a lot of that. Because if somebody could be this systematic in their approach to brainwash people, what else might they do? What else might people be willing to do in the name of money? Create certain religions or certain beliefs to keep people grounded and humble and scared? Wake up. Stop hitting the snooze button. Wake up. Believe in the God in yourself. Go ahead. I know that's going to give some people some more stuff to talk about and criticize. I don't even care now because it doesn't matter. People are going to always find something, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Stop using religion as a reason to lower yourself and to feel like you're not worthy. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Wake up. Wake up. Spending more time praising some God in the sky and don't even have a clue who you are. You're trying to get to know something or some entity that's in the sky or far away, but you're not even tending to that presence within yourself. Not even getting to know yourself. I don't believe some of this stuff going on out here, and I'm tired of it. And it's time for a paradigm shift. And hopefully I don't disappear after tonight's live stream. Hopefully I'll see you all again and not end up being my body retrieved out of a lake somewhere, or all of a sudden the brakes on my car suddenly have malfunctioned. You know, I'm just hoping that I can continue to speak truth and help people wake up. There's enough abundance out here that the wealthy elite should not be afraid. In fact, they should be more afraid of not uplifting people and helping people unleash their potential, because we need more brilliant minds. We need them to be cultivated. It doesn't matter what race they are. It doesn't matter what class they're from. Right now, with the kind of crises we may be facing from a planetary standpoint, from a universe standpoint, from a resources standpoint, everybody should be vested in trying to cultivate brilliance and not care what it looked like. They need to be cultivating brilliance. That's what needs to be happening right now. And so, wake up. Wake up. Y'all have anything else? Any questions? Anything to say? I'm just like, every time I think, let me figure out a way to try to, like, let me not give up, let me not give up. Because I be feeling like giving up a lot, but then there's always something in me that brings me back. It brings me back to feeling like, I was not going to do this live stream. I was not going to do any boss up challenge or create a YouTube channel, because I really don't like public speaking all like that. I kind of didn't like when I would see so many people using these platforms to share their opinions and spread messages that I thought may have been whack, right? And so I felt like, well, who are they, or what makes them think they're qualified to get up there and talk about what they're talking about? And then I realized maybe they're speaking to someone. Maybe they have an audience where that's working for them, where it's helping somebody, where it's touching somebody who may not be built like me, but they're built the way they're built and it works for them. So therefore, I feel worthy. I feel worthy. I deserve. I am credible to get on here and advise people how to boss up. I'm not an expert, but I'm worthy. I'm credible. I'm here, and that's what I'm doing. I decided to do it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to continue to do it, even if I don't get the support that I thought I might have gotten. The most activity that I've gotten in any one of these live streams would have been the one where I showed people how much money I made. That's the only time people was interested, and I had people all up in my business wanting to see that outcome, wanting to verify and fact check, but then no more follow-up. Oh yeah, got the hands up when they see how much you making. Ooh, $8,000 in the first 8 days of March. Ooh, praying hands, clapping hands, you know, thumbs up, hearts, all kind of stuff, right? But it's just like, what happened? Where y'all at? Where is everybody? Because guess what? What's today? It's April 8th. April 8th. Let's see. Guess what? Nothing's changed for me, really, other than opportunities continuing to open up. And guess what? B&B alone, this what my situation is the first 8 days in April, and that ain't even Booking.com. And that's just one business. Okay? Where y'all at? Come back. Remember this? I know it's backwards, but y'all see how many commas and decimals that is. The first 8 days in April. It's not a game. Where y'all at? What happened to y'all? Where are all the people that was interested in this? Because the 30 days and the stuff I've been talking about for the past 30 days, that's what got to this. That's what does this. Even at your best, someone will have something negative to say. Pursue greatness anyway. Yep. I came late, but I try to always go back and watch the live that I missed. Great information. It's a hard grind, but I'm trying, and I'm taking in any information I can. I've learned to just listen, and when I started to do that, I started to see change. I'm just trying to make it to the top. Good job, and thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. Now I got to put on all black everything and come and make sure there is no foolishness at the Queendom tonight or tomorrow. That's right. That's right. Keep on pushing, man. Those of you all, you may not have figured it out yet. Keep on pushing. Even after tomorrow, I'm not going anywhere. I just won't be tuning in every single night, but I'll tune in as often as possible to try to bring whatever kind of information I feel you all might want to hear. I will be telling you about my journey with the day trading and the books that I'm reading and all of that. I'm going to stay tuned in, but are y'all going to be here with me? Am I going to have an audience? Bring your friends. Tell them to bring their friends. And try to really explain to people what's happening out here. Direct them to Willie Lynch. Make sure they know about that. You know? I'm tired of it. I'm really, And then as soon as you get to a certain point, you're going to know when you're doing a lot of the right things, because a lot of foolishness begins to happen. A lot of like things that would disrupt you, right? Or it would derail you. But there are some people where they are so centered. They might be real flexible, but they are firm. So they may go like this and you bend them, but they pop right back up. They may go like this, but it pops right back up, right? That's me. That's what I do. That's what you need to be too. Hope you are that. And most people, there are a lot of people I know that are like that. You might be bending, but you're not breaking, and you might even be holding down like that long, but you still pop right back up. That's what you do. You know you're doing something right when a lot of people or a lot of things start happening that derail you or kind of like get you off track. But you can get back. Yep. And yeah, all of this and this, that is the dysfunction. And this is going to be happening. And you know that's dysfunction. It's going to be something, you're going to be doing this to yourself sometimes and have to pop back. You don't have to be perfect to be a success. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be absolutely a poster child of perfect mental health and, everything. No, you don't. You don't. If that's what you're waiting for, then you're never going to get there. Go ahead and work with what you have right now. Go ahead with your imperfect self and get busy. The tests come when things start to pop. Yep. It happens the whole time you are progressing and succeeding. Oh, yes. And they will Trojan horse you. They will Trojan horse you. The universe will Trojan horse you, because the thing that will take you down the most usually is something that you really might really cherish or really be impressed by. It comes looking all nice and adorned and everything, and you're just ready to like let it right on into your world and into your space, right? And boom, like it just takes over, just ruins everything, and you welcomed it in because it was a Trojan horse. Watch out for those Trojan horses. When you're on the right track, people will send Trojan horses your way. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. If you was in a spirit of sacrifice and not trying to be comfortable, you would see the Trojan horse on the other side of the wall and be like, oh yeah, that's nice, and you would admire it from a view. But don't open the gates, baby. Don't open those gates. Don't open them. And we all have a Trojan horse. We all have that thing in our lives. It's like that kryptonite. Just continue to battle, and when you like this, pop back up. When you go down, pop back up. The universe will test you. Yep. When you're serious. Oh, it makes it hard. Oh gosh, it makes it so hard. And we are like our own worst enemies. That's one of the messages that I got from us. I don't know if he intended to have a real deep message. Maybe people shouldn't expect that from him for every movie that he does. What is it, Jordan Peele or whatever his name is. But when I saw Us, it wasn't the greatest movie ever, but I don't regret going to see it. But just the main thing I gathered from it is that we're our own worst enemies. I think that there was a system, there was a oppressive system or wicked system or insidious kind of system that was strategically put in place it was wicked, but at the end of the day, it was really just ourselves, our worst version of ourselves that was our worst enemy. That's what killed us, is our worst version of ourselves killed us. That's what I took from that movie. So, yeah. I want everybody to really, really hang in there with your goals. Try not to get derailed. Don't feel like you're not worthy. Don't feel like you're not worthy of reaching your goals. Feel like you're good enough and feel like your voice matters. You might feel like someone's going to think you're a hypocrite, but someone may need to hear what you have to say, because you can hold someone accountable even if you're not perfect. You don't have to worry about having the best presentation skills, or you don't have to. Just speak your truth in your voice, in your language, to those who can hear you. Speak to those people who can hear you. Don't wait to be this polished package. Get started. Know your weaknesses and master them. Yep. It all starts in our mind. Exactly. Yep. It's like you look in the mirror and you see that ugly version of yourself and you're just like, what? Who are you? Oh my gosh, I don't like that. And you just turn away and try to run away, and you leave that part of yourself to just, on its own. But that part of yourself is going to come back with a vengeance. You better address it. You better kill that part of yourself or keep it in check somehow. Don't just look in the mirror and not like what you see and then walk away and be like, I'll worry about that later. Don't do that. It's going to come for you. That ugly version of yourself is going to come for you. Well, let's see, what time is it? It's 10:20. We went long tonight. That's pretty much because I read the entire Willie Lynch letter, but I didn't want to cut any corners tonight. I really wanted to read each and every word for people who may not have ever heard it before. But I'm here. I don't have anything else I'm working on right now. I had a very productive day. I got good news for my dad and the project we're working on. Good news about school. Well, some good news. I still have some incomplete things, but today was a good day. Derek, what you mean, no? You know, I think like when I see you guys comments, I have a feeling there's almost like a 30-second to 1 minute lag. Probably more like 30 seconds. So sometimes when your comments come and I'm like running my mouth, then I kind of don't even know what you're referencing. You have been told that in your journey you will lose a lot of people who are closest to you. I never understood until now. It's something you can't even really describe, right? Like when you heard it, you're just kind of like, huh? Why would that even be a thing? It's not something you can really conceptualize. Maybe not unless someone who's been through it really breaks it down routinely and thoroughly. But even then, it's almost like you have to see it for yourself and experience it for yourself and be like, oh, this is what that is. This is the thing they were talking about, where you're going to lose friends and alienate people when you boss up, when you wake up. Because people are not going to be able to understand. I mean, think about it. If they're asleep and you're awake, how you gonna do that? You know, you gonna wait for them to wake up? How can you really rock with somebody to sleep if you're awake? You're just gonna watch them while they sleep? Because to me, you know how they say if you watch somebody when they sleep, you crazy. I believe that. What you doing hanging with people that's still asleep? You need to be with people that's woke. And so that's what happens. You end up being with people who are still asleep. You're active, you're busy, you're awake. You look at them, they're snoring, and you're like, all right, I gotta go. I can't wait for you to wake up. You keep hitting the snooze button. I'm trying to get started. Maybe, and then it's like, it's not to say that they won't eventually stop hitting the snooze button and wake up and do what they gotta do and then see you on the other side or catch up with you or whatever, but don't wait for them to wake up. And hanging with people that are asleep is boring. You're sitting there and they knocked out sleep and snoring and you just like, okay, is the night over or what? Or what else is next? Who else is awake? Who else is up? You know how people be on Facebook and they be looking for other people that's still awake. They be like, is anybody else up? That's how it feels when you're like awake or you're woke or you're waking up and you feel like everybody else is asleep. You be lonely as I don't know what. You be like, dang, nobody up. You be looking to see if the bubbles are green, see if anybody's willing to, talk to you, or then you start looking on Netflix or just doing stuff, because you're lonely. Find your fruit. If you are awake, you cannot communicate with those that are not. No. I'm gonna tell you what can get tricky though. The sleepwalkers. That somnambulism is something else. Sleepwalking is real. Because people can actually appear to be awake, but they're really asleep. And I think there have been some cases of people even committing crimes and they actually have been asleep. So if you got a sleepwalker, I used to sleepwalk. I used to actually literally sleepwalk. And my mom and dad would say I would get up, I would successfully be able to walk downstairs, go into the kitchen, I think they told me I might have been able to like go into the refrigerator and get something to drink. And then they would look at me and then they would just see that my face was just like glazed over though. Like it just the look in my eye was glazed over. So it's like some people you might think they're awake, they sleepwalking. And when you sleepwalking, you're not really 100% clear on what you're doing, so you do dumb stuff. You might hurt yourself or somebody else. And by the time they wake up, you're going to be gone. Yeah, maybe they'll move in hyperspeed and catch up with you. Sleepwalkers and dressed up dusty men and women. Yep. Trojan horse is tricky. It's tricky. It's trickery out here, man. Remember, there's a system that was put in place that had people so messed up in the mind that it's like just numerous sources of disillusionment. It's just disillusion. Like you just... Well, who was it? David Copperfield that made the Statue of Liberty look like it disappeared? It's illusion. Of course the Statue of Liberty was still there. It looked like it was gone because of strategically placed, visual effects, lighting, whatever he did. I don't know all that goes into that, but it was strategic. It was smart. Whoever came up with it was very smart, and it worked. And it made it look like the Statue of Liberty disappeared, but it was still there. Yes, can be very lonely. I know it sounds like some prick stuff to say. It's lonely at the top. It's a lot of cliches that make bossed up people sound like they're pricks, but I'll be that. Remember that episode? I'll be that. I'll be stuck up. I'm stuck up. Okay, I'm a bitch. Okay, I'll be that. It is lonely. It's not enough people. It's not enough people getting on the level. It's not. More people are trying to bring you down or knock you off of the perceived pedestal they think you're on. And then you know what happens? That's a design too. It's designed to make it lonely because loneliness is uncomfortable. Loneliness is kind of sad. The feeling of loneliness is unpleasant. And so if the system has been designed where only like a few people or a minority of people can actually level up, just that loneliness of leveling up, if you're not careful, you might level down just to avoid loneliness. So you gotta be like, you almost have to be made of steel or put on some steel armor when you're trying to do what I'm talking about, because it hurts. It's a painful journey. I'm still on mine, and I'm already lonely, and it makes you kind of like, I still do it to this day. It makes you kind of like put yourself in situations or be around people or hang with people who you really don't have any business hanging with because they can't really offer you anything. You want them to be able to. You're hoping that they can, but really all they're doing is serving as a warm body either next to you or a voice over the phone or someone to communicate with. And it's really, when you really think about it, it's not that fulfilling. And you feel kind of silly when you think about it. You start looking at a lot of the people you spend time with or the kind of things you've been doing, and you feel a little silly. And you look at yourself like, come on now. I thought I was beyond this. Yep. So be careful about that loneliness thing. It's real. I don't really know how to tell you how to conquer that. It's something I still work on myself. So like I said, I'm not a life coach. There are other people for that. You can holler at S Dawn Premier, Shawnita Dawn. You can holler at, there are a ton of people that do the life coach thing. I don't think I have that on lock, really. I mean, I can tell you a couple things that I feel confident about, but let me just help you with the business part. You do need to get your mind right before you can really get to business. Get it to a certain extent. It has to be sufficient to do business, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not a life coach, so I'm not in competition with any of the life coaches out here, the mentors, the people that are helping people to heal, that are, I'm here about business. I'm here to help people get in business or to get a side hustle or to help people not feel that loneliness and to feel a kind of connection with somebody where if I'm tuning in frequently enough, you feel like you have somebody who you can chill with, talk to, do what we're doing right now. And maybe that can actually help satisfy some of that craving to have, interaction. If more people are doing this. You need women, but you still want to boss up. Well, we're all interdependent, but don't let it be your downfall. I'll be honest. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. You know, I want a man. But if it came down to it, I'd like to think that I would choose being bossed up over being with a man. Well, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that the other people that are doing the life coach thing and the mentoring in different areas, where they understand that I'm not trying to like take their spot. I'm not trying to compete. I'm not That's not my lane really. I'm here to just kind of really help people with the business end of things. There may be some overlap, but I just need people to feel a little less frightened, a little less, you know, insecure about what it is I'm doing here. That's your downfall, honey. It's been put into you. Did you hear the letter? Did you hear the letter, Derek? It's been conditioned in men, in the black man, to go out and spread his seed. You know, it's been conditioned. You're going to be fighting against a mindset and brain structure that has been handed down to you. You're going to have to work extra hard, but you're not the only one. I don't know. It's a lot of men that are struggling with women being their downfall, their kryptonite. A lot of people in general, relationships, romantic relationships are their kryptonite. I am not particularly fiercely strong in that area myself. I can tell you, I can be transparent with you all. You know, I would say that's a very difficult thing for me. And guess what? That was put into me too. So then you can when you read Willie Lynch, it almost helps you not let yourself off the hook, because you still have work to do. You don't get to say I have a generational curse and now I just sit back and woe is me for the rest of my life. No. It's like, okay, I can see the system of oppression that was put in place. Now that means I have to work extra hard to figure out how to undo that. It just means you have to work harder. Sorry, I mean, I know it's not fair, but we just got to work harder. Self-correcting. Your feminine nature is designed to connect with the masculine energy. Yep. I think men and women needed each other for procreation, and I think we're interdependent and we want relationships, but I won't be quick to say that I need a man. I can say that I want a man, but not just any man. And if I can't find a man that meets fair criteria, then I will probably have to do without. Yeah. But I won't. We'll see. I mean, one thing about me, I'm gonna try to keep an open mind to things, but I think that I don't know that everybody has the same destiny. You know, I think there are some people that may have been, you know, born into life with different purpose that may not be the typical situation, or like, you know, it may be, maybe there were some people where their mission was something where a relationship, it just wasn't in their story. It wasn't in the cards for them. It's not something that they really even aspired to. They may have been really driven towards certain things. I think I'm believing that now. I think I don't want to box everybody in to say that all women need a man and all men need a woman. I think that people's purpose, people may be born with purpose that transcends being in a relationship. Possibly. See, you want a Superman. Nope. No, I actually, um, yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. It has nothing to do with business, but since we're talking and we're at the end of it, y'all know I don't mind. Um, I would say people will be surprised at my, well, my past expectations and criteria for a man and my current. And even my current expectations, it's nothing unreasonable. But it ain't gonna be a product of Willie Lynch, someone who's not woke. That's not what it is. But not Superman. I don't need a Superman. Just a man will do. Just a man. A real man would be sufficient. That's all. I've been through a lot. And so you'd be surprised the type of man I might be impressed with. You know, I just want a real man, like someone that is respectful, loyal, wants to provide, supportive, and just that's my definition, just a man, just a real man, not a boy. I don't want, what did Willie Lynch call it? Let me find what he said. If it was, when I read it, it's like I laughed, but it was really sad actually. What did he say? Let me find it. I was like, no, he didn't. Hold on. Here it is. Okay. All right. Put the niggers and the horse in a breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You got a multiplicity of colors of ass, backward, unusual niggers running tied to a backward ass, long-headed mule, the one productive of itself, the other sterile. So I just want a man, not Superman, but I don't want an ass backward, unusual nigger running tied to a backward ass, long headed mule. That's what I don't want. A masculine man, yes. A masculine man is like one of those things where, what is that called? When you say something twice, it's like you don't even need to use both the words because to say one is to say the other. Forgot what that's called. Somebody tell me what that's called. So ask yourself, can you be the balance to your ideal man? Well, see, nobody should be off balance without the other. We both come to the situation stable. See what I'm saying? So there is no walking the tightrope and we walking, you on that end of the tightrope, I'm on this end. We're walking on the tightrope like this towards each other, trying to get to each other. No, thank you. Like, no, I don't. But I think I think I understand. I don't want to pick apart what you're saying. Maybe what you're saying is like being with someone that compliments, the other person, where it's like where they fall short, the other is strong. But even with that, I think we need to move away from that, and we need to look at coming in. The reason why a lot of relationships fail is because people don't come to the relationship whole. One whole person, two whole people get together and you have a whole relationship. It's not just so that's kind of like the new understanding that I'm coming into. I don't want to like cape for a man anymore. I don't want to be the yin to anybody's yang anymore. I have that tattooed on my back. I have the yin and yang on my back. I mean, no. I don't want to be the yin to anyone's yang anymore. I want to be the whole shebang by myself, and I want them to be the whole thing by themselves. And when we get together, it's like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. People, but the thing is though, this, because of the system that was put in place, it's unfair, right? Because it's fair for me as a woman to have that expectation that a man comes to me whole and that I present myself to him whole. But because there was a system of oppression put in place, now it's fair to have those expectations. But if we have those expectations, it's very unlikely we'll be able to be with our own people, because we both have been damaged on both ends. Black men, Black women have been damaged. And so we kind of, if we're unwilling to settle, then we end up not really, it's like women are getting to the point where they're like, no more, like, I'm done. And there are some men also that feel like, yeah, there are some bum chicks out here. But I just think that it's like the system, because the system was effective, that's how we're looking at each other. We're like, ew. And then they're like, ew. And then we're just like, let's go do something else. Like, let me date outside my race, or let me switch teams, let me play for the other team. You know, I think that's how you start running into that stuff, because it's like, from the way that I hear the men that I know speak about women, they seem to be pretty frustrated too. And then I know I hear plenty of women talking about how they're frustrated. And so how do you deal with that? So I just know that people are getting tired. I know that women are tired of making excuses for men and why they have to carry their weight and then, you know, be the burden bearers. I know that men are starting to resent women for certain reasons, you know, and it's messed up, because all I can say is the system that was put in place was really effective. And now that if you're living in today's times, it's hard, because you almost feel like, oh, I wanna be the ride or die chick. Like, I wanna save my man. I want to be the sacrificial lamb. I want to forgive everything. I want to understand his brokenness. I want to pick him up when he's down. I want to be strong when he's weak. But you end up martyring yourself. You end up martyring yourself. And it's like you really might really love this person, and you can actually explain down to the psychology of why they behave the way they do, but it may no longer be stomachable to be with a broken Black man. The same way it may no longer be tolerable for a Black man to deal with a broken Black woman. And if we can't work it out, if we can't get it together, what's going to happen exactly? We're going to end up, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to end up having it's just going to be a bunch of foolishness. That's all I know. It's going to be a bunch of foolishness and a lot of misery. So it almost makes you feel like you almost have to make a choice to, like, turn your back, because you're going to put yourself first and you're going to become whole. And in order to do that, you can't cape for anybody else anymore. You got to save yourself. You can't be trying to save other people. You got to save yourself, because you're not even right with yourself, but you out here trying to cape for other people, and you're a whole mess yourself. A lot of bum chicks. I know. Ride or what? No ride or die. I'm not riding with you anywhere. If you, like, what if you, I'm not riding with you anywhere and I'm not dying for you if you are foolish. You can't be with the broken black man, especially if you have children. Your motherly protective instinct will trump that man. But in protecting your children, you have to save yourself first. And guess what? What does it end up looking like? Willie Lynch. You look like what they call it, you're frozen psychologically to be independent. The black woman has been made and forced to be frozen independent, meaning even when there is no need for the woman to be independent, like let's say there's no more slavery or that there are men available to take care of you, you're frozen in a state of independence. You don't even know how to let a man lead. Now you don't even know how to be taken care of. You said, come on, Shirley, let's hit this bank up. We do need to get to the bag. Now, one thing I think, if we can, maybe what we need to do is table the romantic relationships, right? And maybe we need to focus on getting ourselves together, creating friendships, getting to the bag. Because when you have more money, you usually have an easier life. You might be a little happier, might be a little easier to deal with, possibly. Might make things easier. So let's focus on forging relationships, synergistic relationships with each other, leaving out the romance, leaving out the sex. Sacrifice that for a little bit. Work on yourself. Work on strengthening your position in business. And then, who knows? Once you're leveled up, you might meet somebody else that's leveled up. And then it might be so effortless and beautiful when it comes together. You don't have to need them and they don't have to need you. You're both just there because you want to be. All right. Well, I know it's still people watching. It's very late now. If you guys are still interested in talking, I'm definitely for it. But I don't want anybody to feel like they just have to stay in here. If you want to say good night, that's fine. Yep, bossing up may require a time without romance. What was that? The Bosses Need Love Too video? You know, I told y'all might have to just wait on that for a minute. Figure out how to deal with that loneliness. When you're real busy, sometimes it's easier to get through the loneliness. You keep busy. You been ready for that? What, getting to the bag? Yes. Aren't you supposed to be auditioning or something soon, girl? Where your choreography at? Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Kind of cold in this basement. Well, I really enjoyed you guys tonight. Thank you for bearing with my little attitude for a minute. I just really felt strongly about that. And I hope that you all enjoyed the message and that you share it. Please, if you like the video, please like it. If you didn't, that's fine. But if you really did, share it. Like, sharing is caring. Share the video. The thing is, I can see when people share. And I see that people don't really share the video, even when they seem like they are into it. So share it. Somebody might come across it and it might really be an awakening for them. You never know. Don't sleep on other people and what they might get out of this. Don't be selfish. Share the video and help me out because I'm asking you to. Simply because I'm asking you to. Everybody that's in here right now, please, when we get off, share the video. How hard would that be? It would be so lovely. Might help be the alarm clock for somebody so that they wake up. Okay? So day 29 of 30. Tomorrow is our last day. I'm going to try to figure out exactly how to do our last day and how to summarize or what we should talk about on the last day of the Boss Up Challenge, okay? So if anybody has any questions or anything or any suggestions of what they would like to see me do or talk about on the last day, please inbox me. That would be great. And besides that, come on guys, wake up and boss up. Boss up